New tires going on, or it's on the rim already. Wheels going back on the bike. That's kind of what it looks like. That's how it sits in there. We'll get this belt pushed back onto that pulley and make sure that wheel speed sensor goes in the right way. Get the caliper back on. Now this gentleman actually needs brake pads. Those are wore out. And when I decided that was the case, I figured we should go look at the front. Let's see if I can get you in here and look a little bit closer. That's hard to see. But if you look in there, you see those brake pads. You see them in the caliper. They're not doing so good either. So I'm going to recommend front and rear brakes for this gentleman. We've already got them on the new style bag bolts. Going with these style, they screw in, they hold so much tighter. You can rely on these so you don't drop a bag off your bike going down the road, versus the old style, which is just a pin that kind of twists in there and clips with that little spring. These get loose over time and worn, and yeah, they pop out, and you don't realize they're loose until you see your bag slide into a stop behind you while you're going down the road. So anyhow, that's kind of where we're at on this bike, and I will try and get you back in here when we get this front wheel off the ground. I'm going to go ahead and finish up the rear. So just a thought, when if you ever end up doing a wheel, pulling it off your bike at home, and you've got ABS on one of these Harley Davidsons, keep an eye on this cable and the routing. This is to your wheel speed sensor. Now in this wheel speed sensor sits down behind this rear fork. When you tighten this, everything's going to kind of squeeze together and hold tight. Now, I mention this because we get down here and look. Wheel speed sensor, kind of hard to see, but it's right here. It's got a tab on it, and if that tab is not aligned right, you want it kind of this end here to face down a little bit, because if you have it up behind the swing arm, the fork, and you tighten this down, it'll snap that right off, and you'll be buying a new wheel speed sensor and having to take your wheel back off, and that's kind of a mess. I'm gonna see if I can show you on the front. It's a little bit more in the open air. So this is what I'm talking about in the wheel speed sensor. This right here. So see, this is actually up against the fork. That is improper, because when you tighten this all down, it can push on this and cause it to break. So when you tighten these down, you want to bring this down a little bit further so it's not touching. Same thing in the rear. Just a little tip and trick there.